Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out the new Fulci song that just came out called Rotten Apple. My gut tells me it's not an Alice in Chains cover, but I could be wrong. It's nice and short, it's only 2.5 minutes, so we'll be able to plow right through it pretty quick. But yeah, Fulci are a band that I've listened to for a while, I think since Tropical Sun came out, which would have been 2019. So yeah, I have a little bit of experience listening to this band. Really cool. I like their sort of twist on death metal and like horror soundtracks. And yeah, even their name comes after a Italian horror director, who I'm sure many of you are aware of. Anyway, we're gonna get into it and check it out right now. It's like the visualizer. So it might have like the words and stuff, which might actually be kind of nice. Duck face killings. Almar's kind of cool. It's very like cinema noir kind of thing. Okay. Is it tight to the bed or tied? Gotta say, I'm not following the story that well, but so yeah, that was Fulci Rotten Apple. Okay. Let's first get into the riffs. The riffs are cool, if a little basic. You know, it's kind of exactly what I would expect. It doesn't really take a whole lot of chances or a whole lot of, liberties with the sound, which is fine. I've talked about this before. You don't need to reinvent the wheel if you do something really well. The story of it, I feel like they were sort of running out a little bit of what they're trying to describe. It's about the murder of some young lady. An homage. So Duckface Killings is an homage to one of Lucio's most depraved and reviled films, The New York Ripper. In his book Beyond Terror, the films of Lucio Fulci. Author says the New York Ripper is a nihilistic vision of hell on earth. No one matters, no one cares. Powerful vision of a world where love is curled away into poison and death. Life goes on all right as the soundtrack suggests over the credits. Just another day in the Big Apple. Yeah, just another day in the Big Apple. Perhaps only the director's most ardent apologist can suggest a guilty pleasure in the film. So, I'm not familiar with the movie, but it's sort of, it's talking about an empty life, She's out on the streets, I suppose, giving foot jobs. And there's some body abuse. And then she's in a motel and dies. But a lot of it is very stark and direct. It's very much just sort of like describing what happens. And I think it's hard to tell a story of something and also keep the artistry of the lyrics intact. So it's very descriptive, but it's not very like artsy and not very clever. It's just sort of like, that's how it is. There are ways to do it where you can kind of get creative with it and get pretty profound as well. You know, you think of death lyrics. Have you heard Death? That's usually the first one that comes to my mind. They're very they're not super straightforward, but they're describing something a lot of the time. You know, they have a way of describing something real and sort of making it artistic and interesting. For this song in particular, it's lacking a little bit on the artsy kind of side, and I think it's just sort of describing what happens in the movie, basically, or this particular scene from the movie. Fair enough, I can get a pretty decent picture of what happens in this particular section of this particular movie from the lyrics, and I think that visualization, that imagery is important. But yeah, it could have just been a little bit more interesting. It could have just been a little bit more clever, I suppose. But the song's okay. And the thing with Fulci too is that a lot of the times their albums are kind of like soundtracks. So this is 2 minutes and 40 seconds of a much larger piece of something, right? I'm not going to talk bad about it because I think it's just a piece of a bigger picture. So I'm not worried about that at all. But yeah, like I said, I would just hope for a little bit more creativity in the lyrics. I think everything else sounded good. The production's really good. They typically add like really 80s retro synths to their sound as well. So I'll be interested to see what they do with this particular sort of movie film score thing that they're doing. But I've really liked their sort of 80s slasher synths that they kind of throw in and stuff like that. So I'll be interested to hear if maybe they add a little bit of like a, you know, noir jazz kind of thing, maybe. Who knows? Because it was sort of giving me a little bit more thriller, like especially with like the visuals and stuff, right? It's very much like you're in the city. When I think of like city in the 30s, 40s, whatever the fuck, I usually think of like jazz. I'm kind of hoping that there's a little bit of that in there. I think it would really add to the soundscape of the whole thing. But we'll see. Like I said, the synths they typically add, quite cool. So yeah, that'll do it for me. Looking forward to the album. Comes out, I think, in August 9th. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. That was Fulci. That was Vibes of Steel. Deuce.